2018, I came home for summer break after finishing my freshman year of college. I was going through a rough patch at the time. My boyfriend had broken up with me a few weeks earlier, and my grades had taken a hit because I couldn't focus on anything. I wasn't sleeping much, wasn't eating well, just sort of existing in a daze. My parents were doing their best to give me space and be supportive, but I could tell they were worried. One night, they went out for dinner and a movie. I stayed home, glad to have a little peace and quiet to just unwind. I was in the living room, watching YouTube, specifically Cinema Sins, because their sarcastic tone always managed to distract me and make me laugh. Then my phone rang. It was kind of annoying, honestly, because it interrupted the video I was watching. The number was not saved in my contacts, but it had the same area code as me. I figured maybe it was a friend with a new number, so I answered it. The voice on the other end was strange. I couldn't tell if it was a male or a female. It was kind of raspy, soft, almost like they were disguising it. But they said my first name right away. "It's been a pleasure watching you," they said. "I truly appreciate that." I did not respond right away. I was just trying to process what I had just heard. I asked, "What do you mean, watching me?" They paused and said, "Ever since you started college, I've been keeping an eye on you from a distance. I'm glad you're home for the summer now." That immediately sent alarm bells off in my head. My college was over 3 hours away from my hometown. The way they said it, like they had physically been there, watching me, it made my stomach turn. I asked who they were. They responded with, "Piper." I don't know any Pipers. I've never known anyone named Piper in my life. Not in school, not through friends, not even online. I remember just sitting there, frozen. I did not know whether to hang up or keep asking questions. And then they said the creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life. "When you go to sleep tonight, make sure to wear the blue underwear. That's my favorite on you." Then they hung up. I sat there staring at my phone for a second before it hit me what they just said. I felt sick. I couldn't even cry. I just grabbed my phone and called my parents right away. They answered and I told them everything in a panicked rush. They ended up leaving the movie early and rushed home. While I waited for them, I kept trying to call the number back, but it just rang. No voicemail, no pickup, just constant ringing. When my parents got home, my dad was furious. He told me not to worry, but I could tell he was really shaken up. He stayed downstairs the whole night with a shotgun and coffee. I did not sleep at all. I just lay in my bed, staring at the ceiling, completely creeped out and hyper aware of every sound. The next morning, my dad tried calling the number back again. This time, instead of ringing like it had the night before, it actually connected, but not to a person. It rang the Home Depot near us. We all just sat there staring at the phone like, what? My dad even tried calling from his phone to make sure it wasn't some weird issue with mine, and it did the same thing. It went through to the Home Depot customer service line. To this day, we still don't know how that happened. We never got any more calls. I was never contacted again by Piper, but I still think about it more often than I'd like to admit. And it's made me super paranoid. I keep the blinds shut at all times. I don't answer calls from numbers I don't recognize. I'm extremely careful about what I post online and who I talk to. I sometimes wonder if it was someone from college who managed to find out where I lived, or someone from my hometown who'd been keeping tabs on me online. Maybe it was a prank, but if it was a really sick one. The blue underwear comment, that wasn't something someone could have guessed from a photo or social media. That was too specific. It still bothers me. not knowing who it was, not knowing how they got my number or knew where I was, and not knowing why it just stopped. No resolution, just this memory that's always lurking in the back of my mind, making me second guess whether I'm really ever alone. This happened back when the Sidekick was the coolest phone you could own. I had just turned 16, and after begging my parents for months, they finally surprised me with one. I don't know if people remember the Sidekick, but it had that slide-up screen and a full keyboard, which made texting feel way more fun than it had any right to be. Everyone at school wanted to try it. For about a week, I was the kid with the cool phone. And yeah, I was riding that little wave of popularity hard. The weird part started on Thursday night. I had just gone to bed. It must have been close to 11:30 when my phone started vibrating on my nightstand. I remember being half asleep and annoyed that someone was calling me so late. I assumed it was a friend screwing around, but when I looked at the screen, it just said, "Unknown caller." I almost let it go to voicemail, but something made me answer. The voice on the other end was a man. He sounded calm, professional even. He said he was from my phone carrier's customer service team, and they had detected an issue with my SIM card. He said it was probably nothing major, but it needed to be swapped out. I remember sitting up in bed, confused, and asking him why they were calling me so late. That was the first red flag. He told me he was calling from a support center overseas, and that it was daytime there. That sort of made sense, but still, it felt off. What company calls a teenager at nearly midnight over a SIM card issue? I told him I was on my dad's phone plan, and I didn't really know what a SIM card even did, so we probably had to talk to him about it. That's when he changed his tone, completely. He went from polite to angry in a heartbeat. "Listen, you stupid bitch," he said, and I'll never forget the way his voice sounded sharp and cold. "You're going to die tonight. See you in hell." Then he hung up. I just sat there frozen for a second, staring at the screen. My heart was literally pounding. At first I thought maybe it was some prank, but the way he said it did not feel like a joke. It felt like a threat. I ran to my parents' room and woke up my dad. I told him everything, word for word. He was half asleep at first, but when he saw how shaken I was, he got up and took it pretty seriously. We tried calling the number back, but it didn't even ring. Just went straight to a dead tone, not even voicemail. We ended up calling the actual customer service number from my carrier just to double check. But of course, they had no idea what we were talking about. They said no one will be calling at that hour, and there was no report about my SIM card needing to be replaced. I did not sleep that night. Every sound outside had me on edge. I kept looking out the window, half expecting someone to be standing in the yard. My dad stayed up too, mostly pacing and checking the locks over and over. We considered calling the police, but figured there wasn't much they could do with just a creepy phone call. The next morning, my mom went out to check the mailbox. When she came back inside, she was holding a small padded envelope. It had no return address and no postage stamp, like someone had hand-delivered it. The only thing inside was a SIM card in one of those little plastic trays. No note, no explanation, just the SIM card. We ended up calling the police then. An officer came by, took the envelope and the SIM card, and made a report. He admitted it was unsettling, but said unless someone tried to make contact again, or something actually happened, there wasn't much they could do. They ran the number that had called me, but it couldn't be traced. They even checked our neighbor's security cameras, but nothing showed up. For the next few weeks, I was constantly on edge. I stopped answering unknown numbers entirely. I barely used my phone at all, and the excitement of having a sidekick was completely gone. At night, I lie awake, wondering if someone had been watching our house or following me before they ever made the call. The fact that they knew my number, my name, and my address was enough to freak me out for months. And to this day, I have no idea who that person was or what their goal even was. Was it some kind of sick joke? Someone trying to scare me? Or something worse that did not end up happening? So, moral of the story is, don't assume every customer service call is legit, and don't ignore your gut when something feels off. That call still messes with me, even all these years later. A few years ago, I got into a pretty bad motorcycle accident. I was one of those kids who thought they were invincible. I'd weave through traffic at 90, sometimes 100 miles per hour, thinking it was cool. People would honk or yell at me, and I'd just laugh it off. Looking back, I was a total idiot. That all changed one night when I hit a pothole, doing about 95 miles per hour. My bike flipped, and I went flying. I don't even remember hitting the ground. I just woke up at the hospital with a shattered left leg. The doctor said I was lucky to be alive. I ended up being bedridden in my parents' house for close to 8 months. My leg was in this big metal sling contraption they had to install in my room. I couldn't walk, couldn't even really move without help. I spiraled into a pretty bad depression during that time. Days blurred into nights, and everything just felt kind of pointless. What helped a lot, though, was how often my friends would check in on me. I'd get phone calls and texts constantly. They'd crack jokes, call me Terminator because of the screws in my legs, stuff like that. It reminded me I wasn't totally alone. So when my phone rang late one Thursday night, a little past midnight, I figured it was one of them. My parents were already asleep, and I was just lying there in my bed, staring at the ceiling. My leg was killing me that night, and I couldn't sleep. So when my phone lit up, it gave me something to do. I did not recognize the number, but I answered right away. Hello? There was nothing at first, just silence for maybe 3 or 4 seconds. Then I heard breathing. Not calm, normal breathing either. It was heavy, like someone just ran up a flight of stairs. It didn't freak me out right away. I actually laughed a little, thinking it was one of my friends messing with me. "Alright, who's this?" I said. No answer, just more of that labored breathing. It wasn't until I sat up slightly and shifted to get more comfortable that I realized something was wrong. The breathing didn't just sound like it was coming through the phone. It sounded like it was coming from outside my room. My bedroom door was cracked open. It always was because my parents liked to check in on me during the night. The hallway light was off, so it was just a dark strip behind the door. But I swear, I heard the same exact breathing coming from out there, like just a few feet away. And I froze. I said hello again, a little louder this time. And as I said it into the phone, I heard a faint echo of it outside the door. That's when I realized the person on the phone wasn't somewhere else. They were standing right outside my bedroom. My heart was racing. I could not move. I mean, literally, I couldn't get up if I wanted to. My leg was strapped in this giant sling, and I was helpless, completely vulnerable. The line went dead. I just lay there, staring at the gap in the door, waiting for something to happen. And then, after what felt like a full minute, I heard a voice. Just one word. "Gotcha." I screamed so loud I think I scared myself more than anything. My parents came running in seconds later. At first they thought it was the pain, maybe a muscle spasm or something. I was hysterical, telling them there was someone in the house. My dad grabbed a bat he keeps in the room and checked the hallway and the rest of the house. At first he didn't find anything, but when he checked the front door, it was wide open. We called the cops. They showed up pretty quickly and did a sweep of the house and yard. That's when they found something that still creeps me out to this day. There was a cheap, prepaid flip phone tossed into the bushes near our garden. When they checked the call log, it showed only one outgoing call, to my number. That was it. It had been purchased with cash from a convenience store about 30 minutes away. No ID, no trace, nothing. The cops said it was likely a thrill break-in. Someone wanting to mess with us, or with me specifically. But how they knew I was bedridden in that room, I still don't know. Maybe they saw me being carried in from the hospital. Maybe they were someone I used to ride with, or someone who recognized me from school. I don't know. All I know is that someone broke into my house, stood right outside my bedroom door, called me, and waited for me to figure it out. And the scariest part, they were never caught.